Welcome back, everyone, for part 2 in our unit on westward expansion. Last time, we got into the reasons why the Western territories were inhospitable, and some of the inventions and ways people adapted to make the environment more livable. Those included things like the transcontinental railroad, hardier crops, and developing new ways of building with the materials available in the area. For today's lesson, our focus will be on this essential question. How did U.S. policies and the economy influence Americans' decisions to move west? So what motivated people to move away from their homes into uncharted territory with no guarantees for success? Honestly, a lot of the reasons are similar to why we would move today. It all comes down to money and opportunities for happiness and success. During this time period, the East Coast had become overpopulated as the country's population had grown, but our settled land had not. If people wanted an opportunity to own a lot of land, they would have had to move west into our unsettled territories. Second, which we talked about last lesson, were the technological advancements which made living in the West easier. Third, there was a possibility to strike it rich in the West, where gold had been rumored to have been found. And lastly, it was an opportunity for a fresh start for former slaves who were looking to escape Jim Crow laws and discrimination in the South. For our government's part, they wanted to encourage people to move into the Western territories in order to maximize the land that they controlled. If people lived and worked these lands, it would make the United States stronger and wealthier. They told people that it was their duty as Christians and Americans to spread across the land. Manifest Destiny refers to this belief that the United States had the right and duty given by God to expand across North America from the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific Ocean. Artworks like the one shown here depict this belief. And in order to help incentivize taking the often dangerous trip, the United States passed the Homestead Act. This was a law passed by Congress and signed by the President, which gave free public land in the Western territories to settlers who would live in and farm the land. It shifted the perspective of Americans from a treeless wasteland to a vast area of land to settle. Another motivation for moving that we need to consider is the fact that African Americans, largely in the South, were facing extreme racism and discrimination at this point in U.S. history. Moving to another state often wasn't possible because there weren't jobs, land, or other opportunities available. Unsettled territories provided a new beginning for this group of people who would become known as exodusters. If they made the difficult journey successfully, they would have the very real chance to own land and build communities where there were no Jim Crow laws or black codes. Many were successful and created communities in places like Kansas and Oklahoma before they became states. Now that we're at the end, what takeaways do you have from this lesson? How did the United States government influence Americans' decision to move west? What were other influences on people's choices?